What's up, Mark? Welcome, guys, to the stream. Give me a couple of minutes as we post this thing out because we got another Ark of Osiris today. What's up, Salma? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. We are live from Kingdom 28, about to spectate an awesome Ark of Osiris. Bam, that's out there. So today we have a very exciting matchup. It might be a big boy blowout. Bad timing in college. Yeah, it is early morning for us. Unfortunately, though, these guys were going to fight today, this time, right here, right now, and we're here to cover it out. Anyone who decides to join us is more than welcome to enjoy this 1.7 billion power alliance Winterfell Zoo. Winterfell Zoo with the white mammoth is their leader. I wonder if they're named after animals. They kind of are. General Panda, German Panda, Flexing Panda. You have a lot of lion pandas, Kung Fu Panda, Red Mammoth. These guys are named after animals. Well, primarily mammoths and pandas. There is some bears here, bunnies, bears, a lot of pandas, But guys, these animals are not here to mess around, as the tutorial goes to show us the leader, White Mammoth. Come on. Who is not a T5 player. He's not a T5 player. As a matter of fact, we're about to go watch the battlefield, and we're gonna see who they're facing exactly. What's up, Ish? Welcome to the stream. How's it going, man? Mark, it's 2 a.m. It is 10 a.m. here. It is 10 a.m. here. I think the music is a little loud, isn't it? Am I crazy? Lower it down a little bit. So, as crazy as it sounds, I see Robert Bunny Jr. as a tier 5 player, and that's all I see. These guys are very evened out in terms of the power distribution. We're talking a lot of over 10 million, a lot of over 20 million, a little bit of small players right here, but I'm assuming most of their power is coming from 20 millions and above. So we're about 43 seconds from the event starting. It is going to be another exciting Ark of Osiris, hopefully. And we are gonna open this guy as well so we can have an awesome time drawing on the screen. And I'll move you out of here right there. And bam, there we go. 25 seconds. What can we do? What can we do? We can just wait and try to predict this thing. There is a good... what, almost 100 million power differential between them. That's like, that's more than 100. Well, not that, that is more. Nah, it is 82 million power differential. But don't be confused. Don't be confused by this at all. Don't let that divert your attention. As White Mammoth goes into protection mode, it is time for us to make it into the Ark. Let's go see who our friends are going to be combating. This is WFZ versus... Ooh, we have seen these guys before. I don't remember which kingdom they're from, but we have seen them and their family on one of these live streams, as they own all of Central Zone. I see one. So far, only one tier 5. A lot. I mean, this is it looks like a Chinese alliance. One tier 5 with them. It could be a 1 versus 1 in terms of tier 5s. It doesn't seem like they have too many players. It looks like the battle is going to be much closer than it seems. keep in mind that the power differential between these two guys, as long as it's just they have a bit more players with a bit more power, then everything is okay, because that little bit of power can be translated into some researches, which can make it much harder on on these guys. But on the other hand, if in terms of amounts of troops, the likelihood of them having much less troops, while it is really big, it shouldn't affect this battlefield at this stage. So we are seeing, we're about to see how many people ended up showing up into here. We have at least one tier 5 versus one tier 5. This could potentially get a lot closer, be a lot closer, and get a lot closer than it seems. These WFZ do have more players at a higher might, a higher power. So they're gonna definitely have a little bit of an advantage, since this power differential primarily has to do with the fact that they have more researches ahead of the other team. It does look though like out of the 30 people who registered, or I think it's a 30 versus 30, only a couple have yet to show up. What's up, Psycho? Finally, as a free-to-play player, I can get my first legendary. I got Mehmed II. Is he good? Yes, he is. He's a really good commander for attacking other cities. What's up, Ista? How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. I like Mehmed a lot. He's not a bad commander to have. Let's put it this way. You could have gotten a lot worse. You could have gotten a lot more useful, I guess. Something that'd be a little better for a free-to-play player. But that's not a bad pull. That is 100% not a bad pull. Alright, so 10 seconds before the gates of hell open up and this battle begins. I wonder how... Whoa. I wonder how our friends are going to start off. Are they going to send a massive amount of troops and forget about the obelisks? Or are they going to send a few small one-march troops to just conquer the different objectives? Samurai Panda sending full marches. I see a few people sending full marches. General Panda actually doing what the best thing he can do. And I see these multiple of these marches doing the same thing. White Mammoth started either a rally, or they are filling up his castle. So once he teleports, all these marches are up ahead. There's a high likelihood that he already begun a rally. And I'm curious on what. Most likely he's begun a rally on an enemy obelisk. So what's up, Squiggles? You never told me about your Ark of Osiris, so I slept. It's a shame, but it is what it is, isn't it? So here's the deal. I'm reading here they have a yellow marker team, they have a green marker team, and a blue marker, I mean the red marker team, which I'm guessing is how they're communicating. And you're seeing their fast marches are already making huge progress towards the obelisk, towards the outposts. Let's go look at what the red team is doing. The red team has sending a huge amount of troops out from their base. These are all full marches. I'm seeing a lot of cavalries on the battlefield. Some gatherers on their way out, which is really great to see. Caravans are important, but it does look like the red team is more keen on sending full armies, although as we say that, the blue team has also started sending massive amounts of full armies out to the battlefield, which means a lot of people will be stuck in their place before they can port again. Ladies and gentlemen, who do you guys think will win? Leave me a comment in the chat. Who are you guys taking a bet? Exactly, Mark. Who are you guys betting on? Let's go see them bets. So far the red team has a very slight advantage. It does seem like their first obelisk was occupied first, and the blue team was a couple seconds later. But then they caught up on the second. The first outpost was taken first by the red team, and the blue team almost instantly caught up. And the second outpost was actually caught by the blue team before the red team. So it's really, really interesting. What's up, Kokachi? It is morning for me. It is. So we got the first obelisk was already taken by the blue team, and instantly the red team replies. Blue team once more replies with the second obelisk, and we still see the second obelisk pending a red march, as the red marches prefer going for the outpost of Seth, which in terms of points is better. Update names. Didn't I update the names? I did. Did it not save? Let's do that. Maybe it'll save and change it then. What's up, Arko? Welcome to the stream. We have all the first front line by the blue team taken, while he means the team names. I'm confused. Where are they not updated? Are they not updated on the thumbnail? There we go. I'm hoping that it fixed that. It should have saved. Your saves were not. Changes were not saved. Why changes were not saved? Wow, did it not change the thumbnail either? Why changes are not saved? Wow, thumbnail updated. Cool. Ark of Osiris live. Oh, because angle brackets are not allowed. Wow. Yeah, so their name is... I cannot use angle brackets. This is so stupid. So this is the other team. It just won't let you use angle brackets on the freaking title, which is really, really weird. All right, so back to the cast. We have a front line by both teams. We can see that the first few outposts are about to get closed out, and we're about to see points flying across the scoreboard as the red team strikes first. The blue team will not stay waiting for too long. Are all obelisks secured? Let's go look at the obelisks very quickly. As we had seen in previous arcs, that obelisks are targets for early on aggression. So let's go make sure that all obelisks are being handled by their teams correctly, as it looks like the blue team is marching a rally on the top obelisk. This was the rally we were mentioning previously, 1.5 million troops. It looks like this obelisk was very, very, very fast. This obelisk marched super fast. White Mammoth seems to have a maxed out Tao Tao, which is set for speed, and leading this rally with a full cavalry. He beats out the red team into the obelisk, the top obelisk. It looks like there are a couple of marches around the top obelisk, but there's nothing they can do about it, as the blue team take the red obelisk early on in the match. We just caught the rally coming in. The altars start being taken. We have the blue team taking their first sky altar and shrine of war. The red team instantly replies with 2 altars and the shrine of life, while their shrine of war is still open. 6 minutes for the arc to open up. We are starting to see these castles porting into the obelisks. There's going to be a very, very tough time for the blue team for the red team to take back their obelisk, as there are 1.5 million troops in here. But oh my goodness, who is this guy? Are those look like tier 5s? And if those are tier 5s, these 2 marches are gonna potentially melt this obelisk. Now, the important thing to notice is that this is a full cavalry obelisk, because they ended up using their cavalries to fly up to the map and make it to the obelisk quickly. This means that a full infantry march near the obelisk will do the job, which is what this march is right here. And this march is right here, meaning even though the blue team did manage to stall this obelisk for a minute and a half almost, it'll most likely go back to the red team, and they will do they're most likely going to be able to secure their obelisk. But that is indeed a little bit of a blow, as the red team are not, funnily enough, ahead. And the reason for the fact that they're not ahead is that for some weird reason, they have not taken the Shrine of War just yet. Now, when that happens, it'll be pretty much 4 buildings within a minute to 2 minutes starting to tick points for the blue team. While the red team is focused on getting their obelisk back, they have completely ignored their Shrine of War. And even though they did take the altars first, meaning they will start making more points on the altars ahead of time, it's going to be really hard to close this gap right here, as there is 100 points per minute less not being made every minute that passes once all of these buildings are closed out. The red team is going back and forth in terms of a lead. They are doing their best to do as much damage as possible in terms of points, and we will see them take the lead for a little bit, but the blue team seem to be very, very solid and very, very solid and really, really ready for this event. We have the first desert altar about to pop. The Shrine of War was taken first, but the desert altar and sky altar will definitely put the red team ahead just by a little for now, as the blue team aggressively takes a second Shrine of War. This is really bad for the red team, as there are a lot of buffs that come with the Shrine of War that are insanely useful and very, very helpful. As the altars start locking down for the blue team and the shrines are starting to lock down for the blue team, this game is going to be very, very close. The 80 million power difference doesn't mean much, but what will hurt the red team long term is that they are 6 men. They're 2 men behind, as there's 26 versus 28, and they were already down in power. So the question is, how long can the red team hold and potentially make it? Now, usually we don't look at wars inside these buildings very early on, but it looks like this Shrine of War is already being contested. There should be a couple of marches within this Shrine of War. Estonia is marching and falling back. It looks like the blue team, as aggressive as Kung Fu Panda can be, pulls out of the Shrine of War and starts fighting Estonia, who's sending a Joan of Arc as a leading commander. Sir Leonidas is on his way to the Shrine of War back. Kung Fu realized that and fell back, as these points are insanely important. There is 5% troop attack and defense extra in favor of the red team and as a matter of the blue team, and as a matter of fact, there is 10% on the blue team and there is none on the red team. So that is a huge blow for the red team, as it seems like they have secured their obelisk early on. The Shrine of War is not being contested. There's about a minute until it gets locked down, and the blue team start taking their lead back. Add to that the fact that they're taking about 20 points per minute more. This gap is slowly going to start growing, even though the blue team is about to take another 80 points ahead of the red team. Everything is still open. No building is being contested yet. The red team and the blue team are meeting up here in the battlefield. Look at that. There is so many marches marching towards the altar. The spread of marches right here, the swarm attack of marches, is never necessarily the best approach. As you can see, swarm for swarm, the red team is down to take the fight as they own the desert altar. But at the same time, by pulling out of the buildings, these guys are making not only the building very, very vulnerable, but also themselves. At this stage, what ends up happening is you have something of this sort. You have the damage done by all of these You have the damage done by all of those marches. Now, all of these marches are each doing their own separate damage right here. So you can see in this area a lot of damage counters going on. And these damage counters are both for the red team and the blue team at the same time. This is damage both of them are doing. If and when all these marches would end up on the desert altar, all we would see is the desert altar taking hits while distributing hits back across the board. While you can do a 1v1 here to do more damage, as when you attack someone directly, what you're doing is causing attack damage and not counter attack damage. The fact that you have so many marches out here chunking away at your troops means that all these guys are doing is weakening the defense of the desert altar, as more and more troops pull out of this desert altar for a crazy open field battle that at this stage we're seeing a lot of Charles on the field. We're seeing a Scipio. There's a couple of Julius Caesars. There is a Yulji in here. I see Minamoto, a Sun Tzu. What I don't see is a YSG. A maxed out YSG would be insanely good in this situation, as he's a huge AOE, area of effect commander, that will allow essentially to do massive damage to up to 5 different marches that are very, very close. They should watch your stream more, stay in the altar. I agree. There is absolutely no way to pull out of the altar. There's no reason for it. If you pull out of the altar, all you're doing is making your altar vulnerable to potentially lose points per minute, and you do get your solo points by staying in the actual desert altar. I think there's a Cleopatra somewhere in here. Look at those heals. Probably someone has a Cleopatra as a secondary commander. It's very interesting to see that there are some Joans of Arc on the battlefield. A Cleopatra should be somewhere on the battlefield. there's a couple of support commanders that are hiding within these troops that are buffing up all these troops really badly. This guy was trying to make it to sneak his way into the obelisk, and it looks like we have Magasso here, who got caught already by the blue team, who is trying to get the backstab going. See, Magasso's plan was not the worst plan on earth. His plan was pretty simple as far as I understand. What he did is he snuck his troops. He took the red team, snuck a set of troops all the way back here. Now what that does is when you reach this far back into the map and you have a march this far back into the map, you can actually get a few buildings very easily by locating yourself somewhere on the enemy's back lines. When the blue team will start pushing up for the desert altar, for the shrine of life, for the other desert altar, which we have missed. Let's go look at it very quickly and see what happened here. As the sky altar, was taken out of the red team. When you have marches going as far back, what will end up happening is that long term, as you can see, the blue team will be abandoning their buildings and keep pushing forward. And if you have enough troops in the back line, you can actually start taking troops from the back up front, while most of the troops are focused on the front area. Now the red team has been carrying the Ark of Osiris. There's a blue march doing its best to chunk away at troops, and it has been, and it did chunk away at the carrier of the Ark of Osiris. So someone will have to pick it up. If the red team managed to take this Ark of Osiris, we have a very, very close game. We will have a very close game at our hands. Can you tell me how you're drawing that? Sure, I have an app called Epic Pen. It's very, very good, and it allows me to draw on the screen. So the carrier of the Ark is standing still, allowing the blue team to attempt to get a little closer to him. Remember that the Ark of Osiris does massive amounts of debuffs. So you really don't want to be carrying the Ark unless it is very, very clear to make it to your outpost. And now for some reason, Estonian's path is clear, and yet he has decided not to move it. I guess he is busy somewhere else on the map while the blue team are closing in. If Estonian doesn't wake up soon, then what will happen is his march will get chunked away while it's standing still holding the Ark. At this stage, if you're not 100% carrying the Ark, moving it around, just holding it, this is a really bad idea. Capturing the Ark gives a buff for a bit. No, Mark. Capturing the Ark actually does the opposite. The Ark debuffs you very, very badly. It takes away 50% of your march, 90% of your march speed. No, it's 50% of your march speed, and I think 90% of your defense. So this guy at 100% defense, so you're gonna get melted. Look at these troops, as our friend on the red team is just realizing the mistake he made, and for some reason not just straight marching into this outpost. This march is going to get destroyed. It was a simple lapse of judgment as he's trying to fall back, but there's absolutely nothing, Estonians, my friend, you can do. You are melted. 200%, Salma, you are right. Let's go look at this. All damage 100%, and then you have march speed minus 50% and damage taken plus 200%. So look at the insanity that is an Ark of Osiris carry. The fact that this guy's picking up the Ark of Osiris as Kung Fu Panda is still very close to him. And this is also a very big mistake, by the way, guys. This second march has no chance of picking up the Ark once Styles started. So Shode has no reason to pick up the Ark and just waste his positioning, rather than moving his troops around and making sure they are more useful. As the area is clear, the first Ark will go to the red team. While that goes on, we have two altars being contested. The blue team fighting for the desert altar and the red team fighting for the other desert altar. As this rally is about halfway in, there is a very, very substantial march behind them with Richard the First leading and smashing into this rally. Even though he's taking a lot of damage, a lot more than the rally is, he is still able to heal and hold on and keep doing damage to the rally. As more blue team marches make their way, this is going to be a really close one. It seems like the rally is doing substantial damage, but there are other marches on their way into this desert altar, as well as other marches ready to chew down at Styles' rally. It looks like Styles' rally can be successful at this, as we are not even looking, not even paying attention. The blue team smack the red team back and take another obelisk. It is the second time an obelisk is taken from the red team by the blue team by a very, very aggressive move. Look at this. This is one of those matches where I needed Chiskel with me, my man, because, oh, buddy, we don't have enough cameras to see everything. The blue team is being very aggro, very, very aggro. There was a full march coming in here. It looks like it's a potential full infantry march that took its time to the obelisk. It would be very insane. It would be really, really insane if these guys actually managed to march a whole freaking march all the way to here that is full infantry and just able to completely stomp the red team. In the meantime, the blue team has also taken the desert altar from the red team and is pushing out of it to keep progressing, as we see a lot of red marches going dead. Let's go see if the red team are able to take away this desert altar from the blue team. It seems like the red team will be successful, as Sheng seems to be coming in to join the rally, while Lion Panda is joining the desert altar for a little bit more defense. This is a very, very interesting situation. This is how you should be fighting. Rallies into the buildings, reinforce the rallies, reinforce the buildings, because at this stage, the points between these two are very skewed towards the blue team, as the blue team has a huge, all four altars. But the difference in between the two teams is only 1,000 points. This is still very, very doable by the red team, as one Ark of Osiris can close out this gap and more. And if they do the work they're doing right now to attempt to take back the altar, to attempt to take back the Shrine of War, then they'll be most likely successful at least keeping this game competitive, as we are heading into the 24th minute of this event. It looks like the blue team, come on, there we go. Kung Fu Panda made it a little harder for the red team to take this altar. It looks like one blue march just walked out of the altar altogether. They just appeared here. 213,000 troops just walked out of the desert altar. While that's going on, there is massive solo marches going for this obelisk. Can these small marches make it? No, they cannot. The red team take back their obelisk. No, you will not port forward, blue team. You will not port forward. Shrine of Life was successfully taken by the red team, closed out by the red team. Blue team is about to lose their desert altar up top, and bam, blue team lose their desert altar. Blue team are also fighting for their life for the Shrine of War, as the red team is not giving up. What's up, Alan? Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the cast. I apologize if I take a little bit to reply to you guys, as I am very vested into this very, very close arc. Believe it or not, this 2,000 point differential can be closed out very quickly, as the red team is catching up, is making sure the blue team does not score as many points as possible. At this stage, bro, is Frederick good or Richard? They're two completely different commanders that do completely different things. What do you need them for? This is a really good arc. Yes, it is. These guys are going toe to toe, and even though the scores seem a bit skewed towards the blue team, one Ark of Osiris and everything changes. And the red team know that within the next 4 minutes an arc will come out, and it's a must for them. Style is holding up front. Black Mammoth trying to make his way to the Temple of Osiris, try to chunk away at troops that are potentially going to be carrying the Ark of Osiris. Red team is not having any of it. Red team has locked down the middle. And at this stage, if the blue team doesn't start showing up a little more presence than these little bit of marches, it'll be very tough for them. Our friends at the blue team are still in the lead. They are still making a lot more points than the red team. The red team just now getting their first desert altar back and the Shrine of War back, and both of these are still not making points for the blue team. The blue team has taken away the Shrine of Life from the red team. Now this is a big problem. The Shrine of Life gives you a 25% healing speed, meaning if you don't have any Shrines of Life, you are going to be spending a substantial amount of speed ups or just time waiting to heal your troops. There's a 50% buff on the ground right now, 2 Shrines of Life, and they both are going towards the blue team, meaning the blue team should be healing right now if they want to be healing. A big tip and advice for the Ark of Osiris is keep an eye on how many Shrines of Life you got. if at any point your alliance has 2 Shrines of Life, that's the time where you should start healing, because, or speed up your healing, because guess what? You have the 25% extra percent of healing speed. Blue team is trying to still push up for this obelisk. There are plenty of cities in this obelisk, so it will be a big boy fight. You healed 1.5 million troops. Jesus. Ali, definitely Richard if it's for infantry. Definitely Richard. Frederick is a leading commander, so he's not made for you to send with specific sets of troops. He's made for mixed troops. As the red team is porting in more cities into their obelisk because it is under threat. There are plenty of marches all around this desert altar doing their best to take out this desert altar, but the desert altar seems to be decently protected. This big boy march right here is a small rally that's doing massive damage to the desert altar, but it is taking hits back. It looks like the red team really is lacking the defensive power, as they are trying to contest for the sky altar on their side, and there is a nice little set of troops in here attempting to do the damage. There's a couple of other there's another march here that backed off. I guess it got hit really hard. This desert altar, sky altar, will most likely stay blue. I don't really think that this red desert altar will stay red though, as this march sneaks in with a Lohar in it. For God's sakes, guys, stop using Lohar. I can see why you guys are trying to use Lohar. It's not worth it. You held 1 million and only got 6,000 points. Yeah, getting the points is not as simple as it seems. The blue team's rally here seems to be very on point. Very on point, as they are about to take a desert altar away from the red team. At this stage, the red team really need to start fighting for objectives. One of the things that we had mentioned in previous Ark of Osiris is that at this point in time, what ends up happening is that the blue team has built themselves a small wall. You can see, let's use an even thinner drawing pen. So you can see they've built themselves a wall, and all of these castles right here and all of these castles right here are marching forward. Okay, at this stage, what I would do as a red team is attempt yet again to sneak a set of troops either through the center or somehow this way or some way. Sneak a set of troops somewhere this way and start aiming for these buildings right here, as I am assuming, based on the positioning of the blue team, that they have left their back line completely undefended since they marched their troops forward ahead. So thinking about hitting back objectives is not a bad idea. There's a huge brawl going on here. A march was completely melted while carrying the Ark of Osiris. Last Pandicon tried to pick up the Ark and thankfully decided to back off. Fighting anyone who's holding up the Ark is an easy win, as again there's huge debuffs going on for whoever holds the Ark. And even though there are these debuffs, our friends on the red team, Style, is starting to walk away with the Ark. Now there are plenty of blue marches nearby, so Style is going to have a very big problem. His alliance mates really need to focus on keeping these marches away, but they're closing in fast, and once they go for Styles, man oh man, Styles is about to get chunked out of his mind, as his troops are going to be melted, and the blue team might potentially actually have this Ark of Osiris picked up, as they have right now over 5,000 points lead, and they are opening up a huge lead with 610 points per minute more than the red team. The red team really need to step up and start taking some objectives, as they did start really well. We just hit the half-point mark of the event. They started off really well, even though they're 80 million power below the blue team, and they are going toe-to-toe, as they started 2 people behind, and now they are evened out. Look at this brawl. Is anyone who picks up this Ark will get chunked out of their minds. This is exactly what you need to be doing, guys. This is exactly how the Ark of Osiris needs to be handled. Battles need to happen around the Ark, and only when there is one team left near the Ark, that's when you pick it up. At this stage, every person that picks up the Ark of Osiris by the red team is pretty much becoming a target, and even worse, this guy is not even moving whatsoever. So all he's doing is waiting for a blue march to target him, and he will just get melted. At this stage, the blue team will have a huge advantage. They have much more marches, many more marches on the battlefield than the red team. And it seems like the red team's Ark carrier is not even paying attention, as he's standing still again. He just now, well, he might be just fighting, but Styles, you shouldn't be fighting, my man. You should be taking the Ark with you. It seems like Styles is their tier 5 player. So their tier 5 player thinks that because he's tier 5s, he'll be able to or was it Show that just got melted out with this Ark of Osiris. Very tough situation. Picking up the Ark is like saying, I want to lose my troops. When something like this is going on, the Ark should be staying on the ground, and the teams should be fighting to clear out the field before picking it up again. Someone goes ahead and goes for the pickup again. This pickup will go to a nobody, as he cancels the pickup, thankfully, because there's just massive brawls going on out here. In the meantime, again, the blue team are pushing aggressively for the red obelisk. It seems like Crazy Rich Bunny is really trying his best, but he's one march against a good set of marches in a protected obelisk. The red team is not going to be making that mistake twice. The mistake they are making twice, though, is continuously trying to pick up the Ark before clearing out the battlefield. More and more red marches are making their way to the Ark's area where the battles are happening. But Show, yet again, with a full march, picking up the Ark of Osiris and about to become, well, he didn't pick it up as a blue march did take it, but Show, my man, you're losing troops unnecessarily. If there is battlefields going, if there's field battles going on, man, you shouldn't be even trying. This march right here, carrying the Ark, is getting melted. 4,000 plus damage per hit on this Ark carrier, as his defender is also being chewed out of its mind. And it looks like the blue team is going to lose another march carrying the Ark of Osiris. I wonder how many more marches. Guys, keep a count. This is, I think, march number 4 that got melted away by picking up the Ark. Let's see how many marches these two teams will lose because of people who are getting antsy and picking up the Ark ahead of time. The only time you should be picking up the Ark is once your battlefield is clear. Now, the blue team did have an early advantage. It seems like the red team has caught up, sending a huge set of troops in here, and they did pull the Ark a little bit to their side in their favor. Happy Bunny hitting Styles. Styles might have the tier 5s in here, but even though he has the tier 5s in here, he is taking a huge set of damage. Even though, look at this, even with 200% damage taken increase, he is still Styles was still holding very strong against Happy Bunny, but I highly doubt he'll be able to hold against 3 or 4 different marches in here. As General Panda has a full march, there is another full march right here. Well, this looks like a half march, and Styles is doing his job, which is pushing forward the Ark towards the red team's side. He will not be successful at delivering this Ark, I can tell you that much, but he is already ready with a full cavalry march right here to try to help out. This is not the worst strategy on Earth, okay? This is not the worst strategy on Earth. What he did is he is deciding to sacrifice his troops to move the Ark further forward towards his team's outpost. He is a tier 5 player from what I'm seeing, so he is taking a lot of damage but be able to hold on to his troops. When he dropped the Ark, as Styles walks back, the Ark has now made a few extra steps towards the red team's side, which means the blue team will have a harder time coming back from this. It is still doable by the blue team, but the red team will not let this Ark go, as there's almost a 10,000 point difference between the red and the blue team. Red team is doing their very best to attempt to take back the Shrine of Life, but it looks like they have not understood yet that the front lines by the blue team are very well protected, while I'm assuming the back lines are much less protected. This march out right here can do a lot more than just make its way into Lion Panda. This back march right here had plenty of opportunities to make its way to a desert altar, to make its way to a Shrine of Life, to make its way perhaps to the obelisk that might be ignored altogether. So pushing to hit the front line of the enemy is not necessarily the best idea. Styles launching a massive rally on the desert altar, trying to take back an altar away from the blue team. The red team seems to be still carrying the Ark towards their outpost. Man, that Ark is going to be close. This desert altar will hold. It seems like it'll hold as the red rally by Styles is being chunked out of its mind, and it seems like the Desert Altar is very, very well protected as they're trading blows. 4,000 point damage for the Desert Altar, but there's also another 5.5 damage ish for Styles on Styles, as there are 3 marches that have Richard healing consistently all over. Man, this one's a good one. Even though there was a huge power difference between the two, the red team, and there's a 10,000 point gap, the red team is not giving up and still pushing and fighting for this. As this 3-man rally will fail and the Desert Altar will hold, we're gonna go back to look at the Ark of Osiris that was snuck away by Leonidas. Leonidas is marching away as the big battles. The red team stays up here to battle. Leonidas is making his way now. Leonidas can make it straight to the outpost of Seth. I don't know why he's going as further out as that way. Ladies and gentlemen, you can return your arcs into the outpost. So Leonidas made here a mistake which might cost him his march, as his march is getting destroyed by Kung Fu Panda. Bam, another march taken out by the Ark of Osiris. We're talking now about what, 6 marches so far were taken out by this Ark of Osiris. If those are full marches, 150, 200,000 troops per march, we are talking about a good like 600 to 1.2 million troops dead by just carrying the Ark of Osiris when you shouldn't be carrying it. And Kung Fu Panda did his job. He destroyed the 1 march and walked away. And he is on his way to the Shrine of Life, as there's a little bit of action here. Now the red team has momentum at this stage. Look at the amount of solo troops out here. This is the time where the red team can attempt to breathe safely, as Lion Panda will be a little bit too late and the Ark will be delivered. All these marches can now start going for objectives. There's a Shrine of War right here. There are altars. There is a Shrine of Life up on the top. Plenty of things the red team can do to attempt to combat our friends on the blue team. The blue team is doing a massively good job, and we haven't been really talking about them much because they haven't been making too many mistakes, if any at all. They are continuously aggressive on the map and keeping the red team on its toes as they keep taking jabs at the obelisk. And another rally as we speak is marching towards this obelisk. It is not the biggest rally, and there are some supportive marches next to it, but the fact that they keep rallying this obelisk over and over keeps the red team on their toes, keeps troops locked in here, keeps people locked in this area, keeping an eye on their obelisk. So their aggression is very, very, very good. They also own most of the map, and they own the 4 altars, which means they are getting the most points per minute period. Unfortunately, a match that started as a very even match is starting to slip away from the red team, as they only have 20 minutes to somehow close a 9,000 point gap. It is still doable, but they're really going to have to step it up and start taking some altars out of the blue team's hand. While Mark calls GG in the chat, I can tell you that there's still time for the red team to come back from this. The red team need to be focusing on altars, the red team need to be focusing on rallying and on spreading out their attacks across the map. What the blue team does all the time is they distract the red team away from attacks, while the red team is not spreading and conquering. If you're hitting one place at a time, if you're focusing on one place at a time, and you are at a power disadvantage like this team is, then all you're doing is you're making sure your defender, the enemy that's defending against you, is focusing his defense on the one spot as well. The red team should be sending marches to attack every building possible. As you can see right here, there is a march getting closer to the Shrine of Life. White Mammoth picked up on the fact that Zenith is here and sent some reinforcements for the shrine. There's a standing march in the middle of nowhere, right next to the Desert Altar. Cool story. It's like nobody cares about this dude. That works. The red team is focusing on the Ark, as this time the blue team are keen to not let the red team take the Ark. They want the Ark at least one time. The Temple of Osiris, 5 minutes still left, so there's still plenty of time. And if the fights start happening here the same way they happened last time, there might not even be time to return one more Ark, as the red team is really struggling to take objectives. I believe the red team has stopped trying to go for objectives. I think they are focusing primarily right now on getting their solo points. AFK people hurts to look at. I tend to agree, but at the same time, people get very greedy. The Ark of Osiris is an event where if you think you can manage 3 marches on the battlefield at the same time that are on the battlefield, not sitting in buildings, you are very wrong. The most marches I believe a person can handle at once will be 2 marches if they're close to each other. But if you have a march somewhere in here and another march somewhere out here, more often than not, you end up focusing on one and forgetting about the other. And then this happens where this guy was just standing. And I think he just got smacked. Did he? I think he got smacked. I think he got smacked. I think that's him right there. I think that's him who just got smacked out of here. Lots of epic commanders. That's a very interesting observation. There are indeed a lot of epic commanders on the battlefield. We are seeing Scipio. We saw a Herman going into the building. We're seeing another Scipio right here. I think that the epic commanders on the battlefield is not a bad thing. I think that it has to do with the amounts of troops and types of troops that you have available, and of course the leaders you have available. But not every march needs to have big commanders in it. If your march is designated to sit and defend a building, there's no reason for there to be 60 Richards in this building. If the leading commander in here is a Richard, then all the others are really kind of useless. So sending a Sun Tzu as a secondary march that will potentially stay in an altar or be just like a set of troops that's getting attacked really, really badly is not necessarily a bad play. The red team is contending once again for the Sky Altar, as they are doing more damage on the Sky Altar than the damage they're taking. The real question is whether they have enough troops to hold on and beat this Sky Altar away from the blue team. Bro, should we fight or stay in the shrine? What do you mean fight? Battlefield fights are only something you should be pursuing once you are for sure winning the event. So long as you're not winning the event and there's potential for the other team to come back, keep protecting your altars. Sun Tzu is very necessary for an event with multi-targets. Correct. One of the most important things about Sun Tzu is his AoE damage. This is also why I mentioned that YSG is a very important commander. The fan that you guys are seeing in red right here for a little bit, this fan right here is doing massive damage to multiple sets of troops. Now, in this case, Sun Tzu is a bit useless because he's only hitting the Sky Altar. But if there was a march or there was even a Sun Tzu holding the Sky Altar, it will do massive amounts of damage to troops around and all around buildings. One of the best holds of a Sky Altar, of an altar, believe it or not, can be sacrificing your leading commander to be YSG and your secondary commander to be Sun Tzu, while sending a mixed set of troops and having them leading the hold on the buildings. What that'll do is if someone decides to swarm attack the buildings, they'll get very, very punished. So next time you guys think about how you guys take buildings in the Ark of Osiris, talk to your leaders, talk to your big players, and make sure rather than having a Hannibal Barca here at the front, having here a YSG or a Sun Tzu could be a very, very, very good thing. As right now, if there was a Sun Tzu leading right here or a YSG, the fan would be aimed at this zone right here. And as you can see, not only the rally would get hit, but also this march right here and potentially this march right here, even though it's going to be joining the rally. It looks like this rally will maybe take the Shrine of War away from the blue team, but at this stage, there is a 14,000 point lead, 15 minutes left, and only 1,100 points on the battlefield. So at this point, I am confident we can call it GG's for the blue team. 45 minutes into the event, they seem to have locked away their win. The red team finally listening. Look at this. Look at these guys. There's one march right here, one march right here, doing their best to go to the back side of the blue team and try to snatch away a couple of buildings. Shrine of War being picked up, Shrine of Life being picked up from the blue team by the red team, which will give them a little bit of healing. Big battles going on as the obelisk is being contested yet again by the blue team. Another aggressive rally, and this time a few very aggressive marches up front. This Sun Tzu right here is about to do massive damage. He's hitting this rally right here. He's hitting this march right here. He's about to be hitting this march right here. If these guys keep sending troops into the obelisk, this Sun Tzu will be doing massive, massive damage to any troops that come close to the obelisk. I hope Zenith has his troops inside the obelisk as well, rather than only being fighting outside. Bro, Ark looks long, but when you play it, it's really short. Exactly. The Ark, once you're in there, it's like, it's very exciting and everything happens so quickly. But once you're watching it, everything is slow, methodic. Things can be thought of and looked at. Look at all these marches. All these marches are taking huge damages by this Sun Tzu. A lot of damage being dealt by this Sun Tzu, as his fan-shaped skill does the damage. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we need to look at this for a second. Once the obelisk has been occupied, all combatants will be able to. The line to occupy the first. Fires more. There is a thing, right? When you are holding a building, do skills not go off? Do you not proc skills? Because I did not see this Sun Tzu doing any fan-shaped damage whatsoever. If I'm not mistaken, buildings don't let you proc skills. But I'm not 100% about that. Hi, I'm new. Been focusing on Lohar and Pelagius. Is it good? Do I need to focus on others? John, there's no need for you to focus on Lohar. Lohar will have the Lohar event going on. Don't spend any epic commander sculptures on your Lohar. He will come with time. He's a very, very important commander to be focusing on as a barbarian hunter. But you really want to be focusing a little bit on other war commanders. Potentially, if you're using Pelagius, Belisarius can be okay. Baybars can be really good in terms of epic commanders. People are really sleeping on Baybars. But you should be, don't focus on Lohar. Lohar will be your best PvE commander, but it will, he will not be someone you need to focus on, except for obviously doing the rallies to get whatchamacallit. Get Lohar sculptures. Don't waste sculptures. Just keep getting Lohar. It is a great event also to get a little bit of arrowheads if you are looking to make tier 5s in the future. So focusing on Pelagius is not the worst. Try to get a little bit of work into any legendary commander. I know it'll take time, but pick one and stay with them. Keep doing Lohar events. Spend as much AP as possible on the Lohar event. Keep a little bit for yourself for Karak events that are also an event that require a lot of AP. But if you buy the AP potions every day every week on the VIP shop, you should have more than enough potions to go battle out as many Lohars as possible. I spent, I think, like 25,000 AP this Lohar event that just ended. Blue team taking away the Ark of Osiris, 3,000 more points, which will solidify a 20,000 point lead. It is very much GG for the blue team. Let's go look at what they're doing in terms of solo points. Crazy Rich Bunny with 31,000. Happy Bunny with 18. We have a lot of people very close to each other in terms of points. This is very good. 16 people already above the 10,000 points. We have 2 more on 9,000. We have most of the players, 25 out of 30, are over 6,000 points, and everybody is above the 3,000 points. Great job, guys, as the solo rewards are going to be very, very good. I know some epic commanders couples if you need. John Invictus will more than gladly help you out in here. I have Julius's first skill at 3. Got Tao Tao now. Should I still keep focusing on Julius? Primary is Scipio and I'm F2P. So you already focused. You focused on first skill is number 3. You're focusing on Julius. Kokachi, the bottom line is specialized troop commanders are more important long term. As a free-to-play player, you might want to start considering investing in someone like Tao Tao, or investing in someone like Richard, or like Charles, or like El Cid. Lol, not really. Don't invest on El Cid. But specialization commanders, specialized troops commanders is what you really want to go for. Julius Caesar is not a bad pick, but if you're not going to be leading a lot of rallies as a free-to-play player, and you're not going to be heading into hitting cities, I think it'd be better for you to go for Tao Tao than go for than Julius. GG guys, Zoo rules. Yes sir, it looks like Zoo are doing their job. John Holt with a $20 super chat. Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. That's very cool of you. And don't hesitate to ask any more questions. When I'm casting, I have a little bit of a hard time keeping up with chat, but we do also live streams very often. We'll be doing one maybe most likely tomorrow or on Tuesday. Wednesday we will be for sure streaming, and then I interact a lot more with you guys. So thank you, John. I appreciate the $20. If you are not subscribed, make sure you're also subscribed to the channel. Come join us again so you can ask as many questions as you'd like. You guys are also welcome to go follow me in the description, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I am there and I answer there all the time. If you guys have questions for me that when I'm not online, you're welcome to send them there. John, thank you again. Really, really appreciate that. Wow. It looks like this is... The blue team has done a substantially good job. This is a really good Ark of Osiris for any of you to link out to your alliance for them to watch a little bit of it. If your alliance wants to learn a bit more about Ark of Osiris, then I really recommend them to watch the first like 20 minutes of this fight, as the blue team established insane dominance by being very aggro on this obelisk right here. They kept distracting the other team away from any other objectives, as they were massively focused on their obelisk. You just joined. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. And you can see my community is also very thankful for your support and for you being here. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being so cool and thanking John. Really cool of you guys. It's really nice. Wow. A lot of crazy things go on this YouTube community. Really. You guys are the best. Shrine of War about to be taken by the blue team. The red team was really, really behind. It does happen. What do you think about putting second most important skill after the active one on the third slot? Like Tao Tao, I'm FTP. I love cavalry, but having the risk of getting barbs on damage for 40 sculptures. So Headhunter, that's a really, really cool question. I talked about it with Chiskel yesterday, and I believe these are nerfing mechanisms. If you didn't know, there's a commander's calculator that I've seen that it shows you the best commanders for most situations. Look at that. The red team did manage to sneak in a troop in the back and sneak away the outpost, the back outpost, but it's a little bit too little, too late. I think that the fact that there are kind of like Tao Tao, a second skill that is really useless for PvP. It is very good for PvE, but most people use Cao Cao primarily for PvP, unless you're trading your talent trees all over the place. I just got into the game a couple of weeks ago. John, it's a really fun game. It's a really, really fun game. John, Headhunter, I believe that what they did with Cao Cao is to make you spend more on him, to make him stronger, to make him a little bit harder to attain. They put the second skill as the barbarian skill rather than the third skill. That's just, in my opinion, a mechanism to make him a bit weaker. As you can see right here, the second skill, the third skill is the one that really matters. All the buffs we get for cavalry, but those buffs are so massive. Look at the difference here. 20 and 10. What do we have here? Is it 20 and 10 as well? This is 30 and 10. So the extra 10% making his attacks much stronger. Add to that the healing in the back and all that good stuff. This commander is the second best commander in the game. And watch spending tips on this channel. It's helpful. I plan on playing a lot and possibly spending. Not 100% sure yet on the spending. John, let me give you one tip about spending. Make up your mind as fast as possible, because every day that passes are days that you are potentially not enjoying your money as much as you should have. If you are spending much earlier in the game, you will have an advantage. You'll be much stronger than the rest of your kingdom very early on. What I would perhaps suggest is, if you are not 100% on the spending, take this account that you right now have and learn the game with it. Then go ahead and create yourself a jumper account, which you can, if you go into the chat, I can actually link it to you. Go and make a jumper account. I think it'll be much better for you. And once you have your jumper set and everything is good to go, spend money on the jumper early on and be one of the stronger players in your kingdom early on. It'll make the game a lot more fun for you. So if you're still not 100% about about spending, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you decide to spend and your kingdom has run up a bit too fast and your spending now will have less meaning, then perhaps it's better for you to make a new account and try to spend on that account as early as possible. The more you delay your spending, the less you will enjoy the spending, as more people will be at your level or stronger than you, and you'll be playing catch up with your money rather than being ahead for even a little bit. Let me go look for the jumper guide. You farm around 1,500 gems every day for free. Invictus, how do you do that? Do you constantly go farming? Do you constantly farm for gems rather than farm for resources? You just posted the jumper guide? Where? What? I think it's for some. Oh, it took off your. I don't see a URL. I think it won't let you post URLs. I think it won't let you post URLs. I have to pee, but so smart. Well, teach us your ways. Teach us your ways, my man. Teach us your ways. We all want to know how to do that. Here we go. So, John, that's the jumper guide. If you are ever interested in understanding what a jumper is, the way the jumper accounts work is that they abuse a little bit of the beginner's teleport to be able to jump into a new kingdom as a much stronger player than a new player on the new kingdom. So I really recommend for people who want to be spenders and enjoy this game a lot, use your first account as a learning process, and once you are done, you feel comfortable with your knowledge, make a jumper account and put your money into the jumper account. I'm doing like 600 from gathering, 200, 400 from barbarians daily. I'm getting good resources from barbs. There you go, headhunter. John, come to my kingdom. 1,500 is low for a day. Ezekiel, are you saying you're making more? Are you saying you're making more? I'm really curious. Jumper is a bit of work. Keep that in mind. A little bit more time needs to be invested. Correct. So that is correct, Kachi. The jumpers do require a little bit more time early on, primarily because you're going to be very... don't know what kingdom you're in or I'm in. That's pretty funny. If you look, John, at the at your name right here you'll have coordinates, and on the Ark, when we are in the Ark, it's just coordinates. But if you look right next to the coordinates, there'll be a kingdom you're in. We've lost every ward just because we don't have tier 5s. Yes, tier 5s do mean a lot, as we are... this war specifically was lost primarily because of differences of power. The red team does have a lot more troops. We're going to be seeing that translated into the in the report at the end of the event. We're going to be seeing the amounts of troops being killed and being healed, and I'm sure that the red team has healed a lot more than the blue team has, and they have also killed a lot more than the blue team has. And let's not mention the rewards for the #1 alliance gift. Yeah, headhunter, those are very good. If we're looking at rewards from alliances as something that is quantifiable, then you might be right that you're going to make a lot of gems, but it's a luck thing. You can end up with no gems whatsoever. You can end up with like 5,000 gems as an insane luck. I need 45 minutes to farm 40 gems, bro. 45 minutes to farm 40 gems. Is that from tiles? Mihir, don't get discouraged. It happens. It happens that you fight tier 5s. Tier 5s are very, very strong. All you have to do is work your way into an alliance that has a tier 5 on your side. You can get 30 from barbs. Yeah, you get 30 every now and then. 25 spots, 45 minutes, 100 gems, or 5 minutes. That makes sense. Victory for the blue team. Our boys from WFZ. Congratulations, my friends. Look at the differences. This means everything. You can see that these guys healed double the amounts of troops. They killed a substantial amount more, almost 5 million troops more. They were dominant across the map. They picked up an Ark of Osiris. They smashed Occupation scores. They did lose in provision scores, but who cares? 25 versus 27 teleports. The red team actually ended up using more teleports, but it was just really, really hard. GG's to the blue team. Can you play on this game on the computer? Yes, John. I use Memu Player, an emulator for an Android emulator. If you're an iOS player, then no, you cannot use the PC because iOS doesn't have a PC emulator that you can use. But if you are using Android, then you can definitely do what I do, which is use Memu Player. Hey mate, just a question. Wouldn't it be better to use tier 1s to carry the Ark? If they die, no problem, you can take back. So Dante, that's a fantastic question. I did use tier 1s. When I carried the Ark, I did use tier 1s. It really depends. If one of the cool things we saw in this fight is we saw the red team taking a tier 5 player who is carrying the Ark all the way, and even though his march kept dying, the fact that he kept moving the Ark closer and closer to their territory made everything much easier. You can use Nox for Apple. Really? Nox works with iOS? That's insane, but it's extremely laggy. Pass. Do I remember Oops? Yes. What happens with Oops? What happened with Oops? Are they fighting back? Do I need to boot up the account in Kingdom 77 to go record? Stephanie, let me know. Let me know. Ezekiel, I farm level 2 gem tiles for 18 minutes, so 5 marches equals more than 100 plus for 25 minutes. You need to farm level 2 tiles so you can have additional damage. Additional gem tiles 1 only gives 10 tiles, 2 gives 22. So you're saying getting getting the level 2 gems takes you 18 minutes? So 5 marches equals more than 100 plus per 25 minutes. Ezekiel, have you done all your gem gathering researches? The two of them? Let's go look at the report very briefly. No one beats Zoo. GG's, guys. Very good Ark. Your aggression is very awesome. Let me go ahead and do a little bit. I haven't done this before. Oh, only rank 1. Rank 1 members cannot send alliance mail. Damn. I won't send alliance mail. The VOD for your fight will be available on the channel later today. I look forward to cast you guys again in the future. Sweet. Let's look at this battle report. I really want to look at what he's showing here. Ooh, that hurt. Ooh, that hurt. This is the tier 5 player, right? Yeah, it is. Ooh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. That really did hurt. That's the difference between tier 5s and non-tier 5s. He has and another small mistake that I think he made is the way he set up his troops, his commanders. I would definitely have Charles Martel at the top as an infantry commander and have Richard as secondary like this guy did. He also has a level 60 Charles Martel, which is holy bonkers, because he is look at the difference in the infantry attack right here. And that's because his Charles Martel is fully maxed while this guy's isn't. So you have right here 8% difference right there, and then you have huge differences in here. You have a little bit of a difference in here in terms of the healing factor. Thankfully he has these two maxed out, so that's nice. But yeah, this guy at level 60, pain. Ezekiel, remember, oops. Do you use RSS to heal in Ark? No, you don't. You just use healing speeds to heal up faster. Does Constance resource bonus of 10% work on gem tiles? Yes, it does. Oh, that's nice. So that's an extra, what, two gems? That's not bad at all. I don't farm gems, they come to me. That's pretty funny. So I don't farm gems either. Squiggles. I don't farm gems either. which might be a mistake actually. Long term, FTP players are gonna have to take their time to farm gems so they can get their castles taken care of. Actually, you guys really made me want to think about potentially gathering gems for a video to show whether or not it's a viable option. That's a really interesting one. Let's see what these guys said. Isn't sculptors in it? Damn, that tier 5 hurt a little bit. Yeah, you did. Thanks. We did awesome again. Thanks a lot from Animals Fams. You guys have a good one. GG's. See you next time, or maybe in my chat at some point. Again, the VOD will be available a bit later. See ya. And I've noticed that every time I cast these things, I end up sticking in the alliance for too long, and it's kind of rude. So let me go ahead and leave this alliance and leave them be. As you guys can see, GeckoCam28 is not the only camera account that I have. There are all these camera accounts that are slowly piling up as they are getting kicked out of their alliances in some cases, but in other cases, it looks like 2 of them are still within their alliance, which is kind of rude by me. Oh, tile level 2 plus 1, then Constance gives 22 plus 1. Not that big of a bonus, but when you farm gems all day, it'll be very helpful. That's a pretty good idea. Add the alliance name Headhunter. I can't add the right name not allowed by YouTube. So what I'll do is I'll add their name on the title because it doesn't let you add like these types of symbols into the title. But I will change the thumbnail so it'll contain the names. That's the least I can do, I guess. KVK better release high-level gem tiles to the winner. Lord style, that could be a thing. You're about to have 100 plus characters. I'm about to have. I already think I have more than that. Constance also gets a talent for resource bonus too. So that is true on the one hand. Anything one can advise me more. I'm looking for my commanders and letting me know who to work on. Okay, so John, if you will end up spending money, one of the things to keep in mind of is the VIP packs that you get right here, where you can get Money Moto. Money Moto costs 185 bucks to completely max. Nope, I didn't skip it. I just saw it, John. It costs 185 bucks, I think, to completely max him out. So, so Money Moto is a good one to spend money on. He will be very, very useful. Commanders to focus on are really up to what kind of a game are you going to be playing. Most people end up playing the cavalry route because cavalries are much faster moving on the map. And that's where Money Moto and Tao Tao come in. So if you're going to be focusing on cavalry, Tao Tao is your best friend on top of Money Moto, who is just spend money to get him unlocked. Tao Tao is a great one to focus if you're going to be going for infantry, which are the counters for cavalry. And that's how the players that are fighting the hardest are winning, is because they're not spending that much on cavalry and they're going more for infantry. Then you're definitely going to want to keep your eyes on Charles Martel as a commander that can be obtained from the Tavern and Expedition and other places. And also keep an eye on Richard I, who can only be obtained by a spin the wheel event, which will cost you gems. One of the most important things I can tell you is you got to pick which specialization troops you want to go with and just focus on those. All the guys in the background are pretty decent. Saladin will be coming out very soon as a cavalry commander that you will get from Mightiest Governor. It's coming out in the next couple of weeks. How to build Charles. Charles should be your primary infantry commander. His job, what he does best is infantry. You should be building him on his talent tree, so you are working on the infantry tree and having him as your main commander. And once you get down to your Richard and start working on your Richard, which will be much harder, it'll take you much more time, he can be your secondary commander as Charles will be leading, and you can set up Richard as a garrison commander perhaps. another commander you can pair your Charles with. So you can work on Charles as the legendary commander, and you can work on Eulogy as the epic commander. It'll be much easier for you to max out Eulogy. People sleeping on archers. Fair enough, not good commanders for them. And by the way, Squiggles, it seems like I understand from Ronnie that someone managed to beat infantry with archers, which is really, really interesting. And I don't know who told him that, but whoever did, I really hope he reaches out and shows me the way too. Zhao 1, second would be Sugarway or Gao. 20 billion guy going at it. Where I'm on Lords 2. What's going on? What is it? What is it? An Emperor event? Is it a... And what was the other one? What events are you guys talking about? Anyway, John, if you're gonna focus on infantries, go for Charles as a legendary, Richard also, which is gonna be a little bit harder, and Eulogy for as another backup infantry commander. You'll most likely get your Eulogy faster than you will get your Richard or Charles. So you'll be able to use him as a leading commander early on as an infantry, and then once your Charles gets a little bit stronger, you can swap him and put Eulogy as a secondary and still get away with it. In terms of cavalry, a secondary commander you can look at while you're working on your Cao Cao / Manimoto is Pelagius. Pelagius is a great cavalry commander to be focusing on as a epic commander. Epic commanders will be easier for you to max out. So keep that in mind. Keep these two guys in mind. These are the guys that I'm working on the most. Another guy that is very, very cool for cavalry is Baybars. Baybars is really strong. Baybars has nice healing factor, march speed once you get out of battles. He is very, very strong. He's got decent direct damage factor for an epic commander, and he does march speed reductions. So one of the worst things in a battlefield is to get, and he's AoE too. It's very hard to explain how annoying it is to get locked down by march speed reduction. So trust me when I tell you, march speed reduction is one of the nicest things in this game, especially if the other guy has infantries that will not be able to move except take damage. I started working on your Richard because you wouldn't level up Charles before his second skill is maxed. Correct. Is it best to max out first skill on every hero before moving on to the next? Have some have better skills? Yes, John, I was just getting to that now. The way you should be working your commanders is going skill by skill in most cases. So a good example in Cao Cao is the fact that his second skill applies only to barbarians. This is not a PvP skill, versus his third skill, which is a passive skill for cavalry. So if you told me, listen, I maxed out first skill and then I raised them to second and third star, so I have 3 skills now, and I'm gambling that the first few level ups that I do will go towards the cavalry rather than the barbarians, that's a completely acceptable approach for a big part of commanders, but it is more accustomed to go skill by skill. In Charles's case, I wouldn't go anywhere. I would not do anything before the first skill is maxed and the second skill is maxed. And once the second skill is maxed, if you want to go ahead and unlock these two at the same time, that's not the worst thing you can do. The Watchtower defense and garrison will be kind of useless for you. I think no one's using El Cid. That's why no one knows how powerful he is. I think archer commanders he uses is YSG plus El Cid, delaying the heal and shield of Richard, and Charles is key. Interesting. So El Cid is indeed a little bit underrated because he has a very bad name. And I mean, homie, an archer holding a sword always will get a bad name. Will always get a bad name. So most people are not really focused on him. I think the shift will happen soon where El Cid will be a little bit of a bigger contender. And I think that people are also sleeping on YSG a little bit. But the meta is, as of right now, primarily cavalries and secondary infantries, and very little people are actually focused on archers. John, did I answer your question about the commanders before I go off? We've been live for about an hour and 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 more Ark of Osiris's later today that are still going to be streamed, so look forward for 2 more streams. Make sure you guys set your timers for the next two Ark of Osirises. They will be happening at 1 p.m. UTC and 8 p.m. UTC. So make sure you guys are back for that. Ranjana, welcome to the stream as I'm about to go off. Guys, thank you guys very much for watching this video, watching this live stream. Congratulations to the animal family. I guess that's what they call themselves. Was it WFZ, right? WFZ? I'm not crazy. I don't want to misspell their name. Yes, WFZ. Congratulations on your victory. It was a very, very fun fight to see. How do I play any other games? I do. I play PUBG Mobile on the phone. I started playing this game that seems a bit interesting, but I don't really know how much I'll get into it. I started looking at Skylanders, which is really interesting. What was UTC again? UTC is the time zone. I don't know what time is it right now. It is 9:16 a.m. UTC. Okay. Buy one new sub. One more question. You play any other games? Yeah, as I mentioned. Yeah. I play all these different. I play these games on the phone. I used to be a big PC player. I just don't have time to play on the PC as much as I'd like to. If I manage to make this YouTube a thing, like something that I can even make a living out of, then I'll be for sure doing some PC gaming as well. I mean, next stream UTC. Next stream UTC will be at 1 p.m. So the next couple streams will be at next streams 13 UTC and 20 UTC, and we will potentially do a double stream in one of these two with Chisco Gaming. So it's going to be a very exciting multi-stream. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. We'll make sure to post if it's going to be a multi-stream. That way you guys can watch both of our screens at the same time on your monitor. See two cameras looking at the same Ark of Osiris. It's going to be dope. Thank you guys again. Thank you, John, for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate that. I hope to see you here again. And if I don't see you here again, then sucks. But I do really hope to see you here. And any questions you have, don't be shying away from asking. Every now and then I miss a comment on the chat, so bear with me a little bit. But I do my best to answer as much as possible. Your YSG got bad skills and that's your fault. You can just max them. The way we know you, Squiggles, you'll be maxing them very, very soon. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great rest of your day, great night. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Hopefully one of them will be with Chisco. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care.